So welcome to our show here tonight. Welcome to We'll Sing and We'll Shout. Tonight, this is your host Steve Hansen. We're singing and shouting from the hot tub. Uh, I think I'm going to turn off the jets here. Maybe that'll help the noise a little bit. So, yeah, I thought I might be up there on the roof tonight, but they changed. So we have flight school being held at our home here typically every Thursday evening, but they moved it to Wednesday evening tonight just because of some schedule conflicts, and that took my best roofer, Catherine, off the roof tonight. So, but I'm actually so worn out from activity yesterday that decided not to go up there. But Cheryl, I wanted to share this story about. Uh, so I work in the temple on Wednesdays, and you said Scott had done some performances in that.
Yeah, the
Provo?
Provo City Center Temple. It
Yeah,
used to be the Provo Tabernacle when I was when we were there getting Scott's master's degree, which was like 93, 92, 93, I think
right.
that year. And so Scott was in the top orchestra at BYU, and he was the first chair trombone player in that orchestra. And so they had some sort of a concert at that tabernacle. So I don't know if it was their Christmas concert or what it was, but I was able to go and see the show. And I think I sat in the balcony. It was a really impressive building though, really pretty.
Yeah, it is. Uh, I never got to see it as a tabernacle. It caught fire about 2 months after we got out here.
Hmm.
And I was so bummed because like a week or two later, we were going to have state conference there. And I was finally going to get to see the inside of that old building. And then I never did.
Yeah, I
But,
was
uh,
really distressed when it burnt.
but now it's completely redone. And so I've been a temple worker over there for about 5 weeks. I did 2 weeks on Wednesdays before we went to Thailand. And then today was my third day since I've been home. But I'm supposed to be there for per meeting starts at 9:30, and I'm supposed to be there dressed and ready to go. And I've had the hardest time getting there on time. Uh, I mean, I'm usually a very punctual person. Like if I have an appointment to go see a customer, I'm almost always right on time, or I send them a text to let them know, hey, I'm going to be 10 minutes late or whatever. But I'm a pretty darn punctual person. But for
Well, just
whatever
call
reason,
yourself Ben.
I cannot get myself to per meet on time. Like this morning, I felt like, okay, everything's on schedule for me to leave on time at 9 o'clock. And then I started getting some phone calls and some text messages and just things that just like had to be dealt with.
Right.
And so again today, I didn't leave until 9:15. Well, there's no way I can leave the house at 9:15 and be in prayer
Be
meeting
in
by
prayer meeting
9:30
at 9:30. Yeah.
and get across town.
Right.
But I'm leaving. I'm leaving the house. Really, it was probably 9:20 by the time I'm leaving the
Like,
house.
were you dressed in your temple clothes before you went?
Oh no, no, I mean, I
Ah,
can't get dressed in my all whites, and
right.
so but I do have to put my shirt and tie on to at least look presentable to go over there.
Right.
So I got myself all dressed up, and I'm taking the minivan because Heidi wanted to use the little blue truck because she and Adelaide were working on a project. So I'm hustling over there, and actually the first three lights that I came to, I was able to very effectively maneuver around and through those lights, and I felt like, okay, this little trip is going really well. And then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden I got stopped by a couple of lights in a row. And it's one of
Mm,
those deals where you get stopped, like you're the last one or the person in front of you is the last one who got through. And
right.
so it's the worst kind of stop because you're going to be the whole cycle.
Yep.
But I'm coming up to Cougar Boulevard, and every indication is that I'm going to get through this light. And then all of a sudden, this person in front of me starts slowing down dramatically, almost comes to a stop
Oh my
because
gosh.
they're trying to figure out whether they want to go straight or whether they want to turn. And
Ah,
and there's a freaking turn lane right there. Like if you
right.
want to turn or you don't know what you're doing, why don't you get out of the way?
Right.
But because of their nonsense, I had to slow down and I got stopped at that light. And
Ah.
so I'm on my way to the temple and I'm like, and I let out this expression like, you know,
Uh-huh.
what the heaven? And
Right.
except it wasn't the heaven. And and then I paused and thought about it for a moment. I was like, I'm on my way to the temple. I don't know that that's the appropriate response in that situation,
Yep.
but
Well, we're
anyway.
all human.
But yeah, I kind of cooled off and was like, you know what, I'm going to be okay. They'll start prayer meeting without me, but life will go on. So, and they're very non-judgmental about me being late. They've never really,
Mm.
they don't even give you a,
They don't
you
take
know,
you
you
aside and
know
give you a warning or anything.
no, they don't give you like a dirty look or anything. They just kind of like, glad to have you here and whatever.
Hmm.
So I actually officiated the noon session today,
Well, that's
and
cool.
that's been a while since I've done that. So that's a pretty smooth operation right up to where it's time to do the prayer circle,
Right.
and you have to do the prayer, and when you haven't done it for a while, when you're used to the routine, it's not really any big deal. But when you haven't done it for a while, that was a little nerve wracking, but I got through it. So that was my what the heck experience this morning on the way to the temple. Um, I think next Wednesday morning I'm going to plan to leave at 8:30, so I can get there
There
in
you go.
plenty of time and be
Reverse
there on
Mormon
time.
Standard Time.
Be there on time for prayer meeting.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, you had some stories about. You were telling me some stories about Allison and what in Chicago and whatnot. What was that all about?
All right. I'll tell you. But first, I got to tell you, I got through today and I was so proud of myself because we went to the dentist about 10 days ago, me and Martin. And uh, Martin hadn't had a cleaning in about 12 years. And we had appointments scheduled just before COVID hit. So then when COVID hit, of course, they canceled our appointments. That was when we were in Bellevue. And then I had this other kerfuffle when we lived in Oak Harbor and I was supposed to get my teeth cleaned and then it didn't happen. So my teeth needed a deep cleaning to get all the tartar and stuff off. So that meant she had to like numb like almost every single tooth she had to stick a needle into.
Wow.
And so she put this numbing spray on my gums first to kind of make the shots not hurt as bad, but they still hurt. And I was really wanting to cancel it. I did not want to go. I've been stressed about it for days. So I girded up my loins and I got on in there and I got it done. And now my mouth, I was telling Allison, my mouth feels real swollen and sore and like I keep swallowing blood. So it was like she was doing surgery on me. I kept seeing like bits of like blood and stuff coming out. And I was like, oh, that's disgusting. But I'm so proud of myself that I made it through. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, you just need to do it more regularly, and it won't be such a ordeal when you do go. So
yeah, they want me to come back in 3 months. And then I've lost a lot of molars. So we're going to discuss how we could maybe get me some teeth so that I can actually chew. Because right now I'm chewing with kind of the small molars on my right side. And it's not good for the teeth and it's not good for me because I can't chew like meat and stuff. I have to have kind of softer foods. So it'll be really nice to get some chompers back and be able to eat again.
wow, what happened to those? Did they just kind of
Well, you know me and my sugar habit,
yeah,
and I just kind of rotted away. I had so
ouch.
many cavities in them, and then they talked me into getting one of those root canals. I got a couple of root canals, which I wish I would have never done. Don't ever pay for a root canal, folks, because the tooth just dies anyway. Just get it pulled. That's so much cheaper, and it's so much less painful than the root canal. So that's Cheryl's advice on dentistry. If you have a bad tooth, just get it pulled, get it out of your mouth. But I mean,
Yeah, I
those
did have
stupid
a
root
root.
canals are like $2,000 or some ridiculous thing, and they don't even save the tooth.
I did have a root canal about 10 years ago, and and then they drill a post into it. You can hear me, okay? They
Yeah,
they drill a post into it, and then they put a new fake tooth on top of it. But mine has been doing fine. But
that's good.
anyway, yeah.
Well,
Um,
so since this is Weight Loss Wednesday, I thought I would tell my success story with that.
yes.
Um, Martin and I are coming up on our 15th anniversary on September 3rd. And actually, the little dental hygienist who did my teeth today, I mentioned this to her and she goes, "Hey, that's my anniversary. And me and my husband are coming up on our 10th." So she was like, "Small world." She was all excited about it. It was kind of cute.
Right. Right.
So that's 4 months from now. And so I challenged Martin and myself to lose 25 pounds because you know how I kind of leveled off where I was for a long time.
Yep.
So I challenged the both of us to lose 25 pounds by September 3rd, and that will put us at the weight that we were when we got married.
Beautiful.
And so we each had 25 pounds to lose to get to that weight, which is kind of cool. So we started about a week ago, really like not eating after 6 o'clock at night. And the first few days were kind of difficult, but we had our unamate. And then in the morning, I get up at 5 o'clock to get him off to work. And it's so hard for me not to sit and snack at like 6 a.m. So
Wow.
this week I have just been not snacking because I always go back to bed because I don't go to bed till about midnight. So I'm in bed from like midnight to 5. So I get 5 hours. Then I get up and get him off to work. And then I go back to bed about 7 and sleep until 10. So to not eat during that time frame after he leaves for work, like between 6 and 7, is a struggle for me. But this week I've been really, really buckling down and just like I just get away from the kitchen. I make myself like a drink of some sort, maybe the unamate. Sometimes I make one for him in the morning, and sometimes he doesn't drink it all, so then I'll drink the rest of his. But it gets me through to when I go back to bed. And I have lost 7 pounds just in this week just by not eating after 6 and by not eating in the morning when Martin goes off to work. So
Wow.
I'm going from what is that? 6 to 6 is 12 hours. So I'm doing the 16 hours really, like you
Yeah.
suggest.
I love that.
And
And that's why, I mean, keep it up, but I'm sure that's why you're getting results because you're getting into that fat burn. And if
yeah,
you can do that consistently day after day, Cheryl, you're gonna knock off that 25 pounds. So,
because like
um,
last year, I started in June. Just well, my husband was on strike from his work, and so I wasn't getting up at 5 to get him off to work. So we were both getting an 8 hour stretch of sleep every night. And also, my daughter opened a pool at her house, and so I was able to go over and swim a lot. And between those two things, I lost about 35 pounds. I probably lost 30 pounds. And then I started on Steve's program in the fall, and I was able to get off another 5 pounds, but then I kind of leveled off. But I managed to keep the weight off over the winter, which is really hard because wintertime is tough. You know, you're just sitting inside doing nothing all day. So I was really pleased with myself that I was able to keep that weight off until now. And now I'm really hitting it hard again with the fasting and Gemini. I'm having great success. I mean, 7 pounds in a week. That's just amazing. So hopefully that
that
25
is,
pounds will come off, and I've actually already booked an Airbnb for us that is right on Lake Erie up in Huron. Really neat place. And I was able to get a really good price because Martin's taking Monday and Tuesday. No, is it Monday? He's taking Tuesday and Wednesday. Our anniversary's on the 3rd. So he's taking the 1st through the 3rd off from Sutphen, because if we went like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, then he wouldn't get his Labor Day pay because Labor Day's late this year, like on the 8th or something.
oh,
Um, so he has to be there the day before Labor Day. He has to be there the work day before Labor Day and the work day after Labor Day in order to get that day paid.
oh, wow.
So we decided to do the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And so I looked up Airbnb and I found a really good one and it's right on Lake Erie. We love Lake Erie. We love to swim, and Huron has some really good restaurants that we enjoy. So that's going to be kind of a fun getaway for us. But hopefully we'll be looking slim and trim. So I'll make sure I send some pictures of that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is good. That is great. I'm so excited that you're finally getting some big movement. And yeah, please keep doing what you're doing. Stop eating after 6 o'clock and don't eat in the morning there. Get your 15, 16, 17 hours, whatever, and you will see results. And
Yeah. So 6 o'clock at night to 10 in the morning is what I've been doing.
yeah, that is great. I had this experience with my Unamate. So last night when I was doing my live, I took a drink of my Unamate up on the roof and I had a full bottle and I just took one swig. And then we got busy and finished up on the roof and I left that up there overnight. And then I didn't get back up there until I got back from the temple. I wasn't back up there until like 3:30. So my unamate had been up there baking in the plastic bottle in the sun all day long.
I'm surprised it
So
didn't explode.
so I've discovered this new thing with unamate. It's called, roof baked unamate, and it's actually pretty amazing. It's kind of like aged on the roof for a day. It's kind of like an aged wine,
Like cheese.
and it's really pretty amazing. So if those of you who are on the program, or those of you who might consider, you might consider some roof aged unamate in your program. That's actually what I'm drinking right here is my roof aged unamate,
Does it taste any different?
and it is well, it doesn't actually taste any different, but I know I know baking up there in the sun, I know it now has some special properties that it
Properties.
didn't have before. So I'm sure that it's, much more potent, much more powerful than your average unamate. So
Yeah.
consider some roof aged unamate in your program. Um, but hey, go ahead.
All right. So you want me to tell my Allison stories?
Yeah, that
All
was
right.
that was fascinating.
Well, last night while Steve was on the roof, I was a little worried about him, but I said my daughter Allison would be freaking out because she can't stand it when anybody gets near to a ledge where they might fall. She won't let her kids get anywhere close to any sort of an overlook or anything like that. There's good reason for it. Allison has had some traumatic experiences, and the one I was there for, so I know I can tell this story really well. The other one I was not there for, so it's kind of like hearsay, and I know some of it. But so we went to Chicago on a band trip, and Allison was probably about fifth grade. Her brother would have been in eighth grade, I think. And so he was just because my ex husband Scott is the band director for Homer, our whole family was able to go at like half price or maybe even free. Scott knew the guy that ran the company, the tourist company that booked all these programs, and so I think our family even got to go free. But so we went to Chicago for a few days with the band, and we happened to be in this big mall. We actually went to that like the maritime thing with the dolphins and all that they have down by Lake Michigan. So we were able to go to that, and so we saw. I think we did. We might have done that thing with the knights where you sit and eat the chicken like you're in the old fashioned medieval times. I think we did that time too, which was really fun. But so I had a baby in a stroller. I think it was Josh. I guess it must have been Josh. So we were on the top floor of this mall, and where the stairwells were, you could see over 3 stories down, and of course, each area that you could see over, big round area that you could walk around, had big glass partitions so that nobody's going to fall. And so as we're walking up, I think we were at the edge of Macy's or Penny's or something, one of those big anchor stores, and we were getting ready to head back down. All of a sudden, this man runs past us, and he was quite a ways. He was probably at the other side of the circle of opposite where we were, and he jumps over the glass wall enclosure, and he's hanging there by this metal, kind of rounded metal thing that was on top of the glass. He's just hanging there, dangling. And so our family's just watching this in horror, like, what's this guy doing? And of course, anybody that was in the area was just riveted. And so Scott started running around the big circle trying to get to the guy before he falls. And just as Scott got to him, he let go. And he descended 3 stories and fell and cracked his head. And Scott ran down the stairs to try to do CPR or try to help him or something, but it was really obvious that the man was gone and there was blood coming out his mouth and stuff. So, but Scott did try his best to do that. But once you hear that sound, you just know what it is. And it's just a horrific sound. And so our whole family was really kind of traumatized by that. And we got back on the school bus, and I remember all of us just kind of being in shock almost. And a lot of the band kids had heard about it, but they hadn't witnessed it like our family had. So that was very traumatizing for all of us. And so the odd thing with Allison, and actually Scott was there too, was at the end of the 8th grade year in Homer, the whole 8th grade class goes to Chicago. So Allison and Scott were in Chicago. I was home with the children. I think I probably had Joey by then. And so they went to the Natural History Museum, I believe is the one they were in Chicago. and they were just there milling around, and all the eighth grade kids were going around. So Scott was with Allison because he wasn't in charge this time. Someone else was in charge. So he was just walking around with Allison, and they were coming down a staircase, and there was a whole group of Catholic kids going up the staircase at the same time they were coming down. And Allison said that one of the girls said hi to her when she went past, and she was real fun and cute. So they get down to the bottom of the staircase, and all of a sudden, they heard people screaming, and then they heard that same noise that we heard before, that splat of a human just falling and crashing. And so what this girl had done, and it ended up being the same girl that had said hi to Allison, so that really, really bothered her for a long, long time. Um, it was one of those big pendulums when you go to those historical museums, or when you go to museums, there's like sometimes there's a great big pendulum hanging from the ceiling, and it's just going super slow, and it like it ticks over these little wooden pegs that are on either side. So like I don't know if it gets all the way around the wooden pegs, whether that's 12 hours or 24 hours or whatever it is.
Well,
But
it's it's measuring the Earth's rotation. The
oh, is
Earth
that what
is
it's doing?
rotating beneath the pendulum. Yeah.
Okay. So the pendulum is swinging, and it's obviously a very big, heavy thing. And when this girl went up the stairs, she reached over and grabbed the big cord that the pendulum was on, and it just took her right over. And she couldn't hold on. So she ended up falling into the middle of the pendulum. And there was big walls. I think there were probably plexiglass walls around the whole outside of the pendulum because they didn't want people just coming up and knocking the pegs over to be funny. And of course, the pendulum would hurt someone if it swung into them. So there was a big wall around the thing. And somehow Scott managed to scale that wall. I think it was about an 8-foot wall. Scott managed to scale that wall and be in there with the girl. And of course, he was doing his Boy Scout thing again, trying to help. And I don't know that the girl was ever responsive, or if he was able to help at all. But the nuns were there, and they were just all so thankful for Scott to just like be with her. And then the ambulance came and took the girl away. But then Scott was trapped in there. He couldn't get back out. Somehow he had gotten in, but he couldn't get back out because he didn't have that adrenaline going. So they had to like bring a ladder and help fish him out. But he got lots of letters from that whole class that had been there with that girl. Scott got lots of letters from the nuns and from the whole class just saying how much they appreciated a stranger being willing to help. And but of course, Allison had been there and witnessed a second death by falling in Chicago. I mean, I don't think you could calculate the odds of that ever happening. So she probably will never go to Chicago again. But she's very paranoid about anybody getting close to a ledge or an edge of any sort. Because I wrote that last night on Steve's Facebook Live. That was one of my comments. So if any of you wondered why I said that, that's why, because my poor girl had to deal with that trauma twice. So she's
Right.
very careful with her children, and even us adults. Like the other day, I was at this new condo that they're going to buy, and the upstairs is basically a loft type situation where there's a wall that comes up about 4 feet tall. And I was looking over the wall to the downstairs, and Allison had to walk in the next room. She can't even stand for anybody to be close to anything where they might fall through or fall over. So anyway, that's my story about my daughter.
I wondered, Cheryl. I don't know where you were when I had that fall when I was like 4 or 5 years old there in the haymow, where I fell from
Yeah,
about.
I don't remember
Yeah,
if I was around or not. I certainly heard about it, but I don't know if I was there.
because Steve Swartz told me this here about a year or so ago, but he told me that mom and dad were in the house talking to grandma and grandpa, and that he and Bill was actually up on the stack with me, and he was throwing bales to Bill. And I think maybe there was a third person, I don't know, but Steve was the one who picked me up off the barn floor and
Hmm.
carried me into the house. And you can imagine what that's got to feel like to Steve to be carrying me
Yeah,
in the house like that. And then you wonder, with all that grandma and grandpa had gone through with
with
Jimmy
Jimmy. Oh my
and
gosh, they must have
dad,
been in a panic.
you got to wonder, what were they going through? And
You think about how many times that man has rescued our family, Steve Swartz.
Oh, Steve
He,
Schwartz. Yeah.
he was the one who saw the barn on fire, and we were able to get the fire department there. And it was like 3 a.m, and he saw this red glow, and he came across the
Yeah.
field, and he basically knocked our door in. And of course, we all thought somebody was breaking and entering, and it was Steve yelling that the barn was on fire.
Yeah.
So, and then he also saved grandma and grandpa when they were stuck in the lane in that snow, and they tried to get out and walk to the house, and they basically just fell over in the snow. They would have been frozen there and found dead the next day. But Steve
Yeah.
kind of like noticed, and he went over there, and he was the one who was able to get them out of the snow, get them into the house. And I mean, how many times has that man rescued our family? He's just amazing. He was the one who came when Ben fell down the stairs and got the big gash in his forehead and was bleeding all over.
Oh,
I was babysitting, and Dad was at a bishop meeting way up at Sandusky Ward. So I called Dad in a huge panic, didn't know what to do because Ben was just splurting blood all over the place.
I
And
I
Steve
remember that.
Swartz came over and took Ben to the hospital, and Dad met him there.
Well, I had my Boy Scout first aid, and I was holding the compress on Ben's head there while you were making the phone calls. Yeah.
Right. I mean, he
And
was
then
only
Steve
about 3.
took him in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
and then Matt had his share of falls and stitches.
oh my
Didn't
gosh.
Matt have
Matt has
stitches like a
so many
dozen times by the
gashes.
time he was 5 years old? He had stitches 12 times.
Matt
So,
has so many gashes in his forehead. I mean, holy cow, that kid. He was always getting stitches.
yeah.
And then Dave had that one time where he fell out of the tree, and like he came up to me, and you could see his bone through like his arm, and like a piece of his arm was peeled back, and you could actually see the bone down there.
Yeah, it was right there in the corner of the elbow,
Yeah.
right on the inside. So
I think I about passed out when he came up to me with that.
that was a pretty wild
Oh,
one. Yeah.
you
So,
boys, Jiminy.
oh, I remember that time at Rick's College the summer that Mom and I came out to pick you guys up. I was jumping stairs there at the stadium at Rick's College, and I gashed my leg, and I got stitches. I got inner and outer stitches as a part of that gash, and I still have that scar down here.
Yeah.
But
I was
anyway,
just looking at a funny scar I have the other day. I was seeing if I still could see it. It's on my right hand, right above my, right around my knuckles area. When I was about, I don't know, 7th or 8th grade, Dad had me holding something so he could solder it. And some of the hot solder dropped on my hand and scorched it. And for a long time, I could see like all the way across my knuckles, there was a scar, but burnt the it burnt the nerves and everything instantly. It hurt pretty good for a second or two. But then Dad was all worried about it. And I'm like, I can't feel it, Dad. It's okay. Because it like burnt the nerves. But I still have the scar from that when Dad dropped that solder on me. He felt so bad.
I remember that too. I remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
Now that you mention it. So anyway, well, we have probably, I don't know if we have $1 billion yet. We're probably up there in the millions.
Yeah, with these
Um,
fascinating
we
stories.
should probably, with these stories, people are riveted. Where are we at here? I think it says, does that say 36 or 26? I can't tell. Oh, it's 20. No, is it 38 after the hour or 28?
Oh, it's 28.
Oh, okay. Well, we got
Oh, it
another
says, no, it
minute.
says we've been going 28 minutes. So it's 10:29 right now, my time.
Okay. Well, we've got another minute and we'll cut it off at a half hour. So
Sounds
what else
good.
do you have to share for the last minute here?
Well, do your fasting, clean your teeth more often so you don't have to have a big bloody mouthful of pus.
You know, I am a really good, I mean, I'm not a really good brusher, but I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth and I
Good.
brush them really well. But
Yeah.
when I go in there and the dental hygiene person is like, well, how often, do you floss? And I'm just kind of like, and she's like, every day, once or twice a week, how,
Uh,
and I'm like, I may have flossed once since I was here last. And, and so they're always
do you
getting
get a
on me
talking to?
they're always getting on me about my flossing, but the reality is when she then does the floss thing, she really doesn't come up with much. And
Right.
so to me, it's like I do a really good job of brushing my teeth. And it's not that flossing wouldn't be beneficial. I'm not suggesting that. But in my case, I don't feel like it's quite as essential because I do a really good job of brushing my teeth. So,
Yeah.
but I liked her question, like, every day or once or twice a week, or, kind of where you at? And I'm like, yeah, probably once or twice since I've been here last time. And so anyway,
I'm sure she
oh,
was appreciative of your honesty anyway.
you
Well,
know what I said
Martin,
to you? I
having,
said, there's this line from Seinfeld where George gets caught having sex with with the cleaning lady in his office, and he's being lost, and his boss confronts him about this, and then George says, what do you want? No, that's actually a different scene. But anyway, George says, what do you want to hear? And that's exactly what I said to her when she first asked the question. I was like, what do you want to hear? So
I wonder if she's a Seinfeld fan. Maybe she caught it.
she was familiar with Seinfeld, but she didn't know that scene. So while there was a break in action, I brought it up and we watched it together. And she
Oh, that's
she appreciated that. I'm trying to think what that scene was. Anyway, I'll come up with that and we'll talk about it tomorrow night. So, all
well,
right.
Marty Showalter was raised in, his dad was in the Air Force. So every 6 months he got these fluoride treatments. And so that man has had like 2 cavities his entire life.
Oh, wow.
But his teeth are kind of gray from the fluoride. Apparently it does that to your teeth.
Oh, uh-huh.
But anyway, he's got good teeth.
Well, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. All right. Well, hey,
All
you
right.
get some rest. You stay true to your fasting. No snacking in the morning.
All
And
right.
and we'll have Throwback Thursday tomorrow. Thanks everybody for catching up with us here and dropping in. And we will see you all tomorrow.